Welcome to today's program, How to Plan for the Future, Pivot to Your Alternative Legal Career. My name is Mitra Torabi, co-chair of the Committee on Empowering Women. Today's program is brought to you by the Beverly Hills Bar Association's Committee on Empowering Women. Our next program is on March 29, and we hope that you can join us then. Now, on to today's program. Elena Deutsch has a master's degree in public health, founded Will, Women Interested in Leaving Big Law in 2017, and has helped over 100 women lawyers and a few men and non-binary people create clarity, relief, and careers that both brings a smile to their face and money into their bank accounts. She has spoken at the DC Bar, the San Francisco Bar, and the New York City Bar Association. Her work has been featured in Above the Law, The American Lawyer, and the Wall Street Journal. As a New Yorker, she loves Los Angeles. She is delighted to be doing this presentation with the Beverly Hills Bar Association. Elena, welcome and thank you for speaking today.
Thank you so much, Mitra, and to the Committee on Empowering Women. This is great. It's wonderful to be here with you all. Thank you, everyone who is here. So I like to play a little bit differently than many other presenters, and you may have noticed that the chat is open. So if you are willing, we will be using the chat. This will be an interactive presentation. This is not just a lecture. And I would love it, as I pull up my slides, if you would feel comfortable popping into the chat your first name and where you are coming in from, because I know that this is available to people all over the country. So I'm opening up my chat so I can see you. If you only want me to see messages, then just message to host and panelists. But if you are game for everyone to see it, then just write your first name. So we've got Linda, we've got Joey, got Sierra. Hi, hello. Someone's coming in from Toronto. Thank you so much. Redondo Beach, St. Louis, Daniela. Hello, Jen. Okay, this is fabulous. All right, as I am going to share my screen, share my slides. Here we go. Can you guys see this? Give me a yes in the chat or a Y in the chat if you can see this. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, great. Some people are in Nevada, people are in LA. So as Mitra said, I am a native New Yorker, but my mom lived in LA for 12 years. And I love Los Angeles, so I'm super happy to be doing this with you guys. So let's dive right in. All right, so as you're doing, you're putting in from the chat, and I've got some questions for you. I'm gonna ask you a question after a couple of slides. So I want you to make sure you feel like you're in the right room. So who this is for? This presentation is for you. If you're a woman lawyer who works anywhere, small, medium, or big law. I don't only work with women in big law. This is not just for people in big law. Maybe you have your own practice, or you've gone in-house, government, or you've stepped away from the practice. You've taken a family leave, you're raising kids, you're caring for others. So anyone, any lawyer, male, female, non-binary, all welcome. Maybe you're an associate. Maybe you're a counsel or a partner or equity shareholder, right? Maybe you're really proud of being a lawyer and all you've accomplished, and yet still you feel kind of stuck right now, maybe unhappy or unfulfilled. This is for you if you feel depleted by work and you're over the billable hour. This is one of the things I hear from women over and over again. And you are done having to always be available. It's taking too great a toll on your physical health, your mental health, your family, your relationships. Maybe you're here because you're curious to discover what else you could do, right? What else is out there for you? Maybe you want to continue practicing law, but maybe you're curious to explore and you really would love to know what else could you do. And at the end of the day, perhaps you're here because you desire more clarity, relief, and fulfillment. So here's the question. Does any of this resonate? So if any of this resonates, please drop a Y or a yes into the chat. Yes, I'm getting lots of yeses. Thank you. Yes. Okay, great, beautiful. And I want to say a big welcome. You are in the right place, and you have, crafted an hour, you've set aside an hour of your day to be here. And it's my intention to give you tremendous value during this. And I want to start with saying there's nothing wrong with you for feeling any of the things you're feeling, for feeling dissatisfied, for wishing you had something different. Maybe you've got friends who say, oh, you've got all, set, you're a lawyer, you're all set. And maybe you don't feel that way inside. And I invite you to forgive yourself. Right? And I want you to give yourself kudos because you are here today, right now, and you are here to explore. So with a deep breath, I invite you to set your own private intention. Take one more deep breath with me, if you would. For what you're here for what you intend to get out of it, for how you choose to show up. So if you haven't yet, silence your phone, close notifications, close the notifications on your email, so you can dedicate this 1 hour to answering some of those questions for yourself, to getting some clarity. Because in this workshop, my intention for you is that we, help you get over what keeps you stuck. We plug some of your energy leaks, and I'll explain more about that in a bit. And I show you the ABCs of how to make a pivot so that you get on your way, so you get started, right? But so by the end, my intention for you is you feel better. You have immediate tools to feel better. You have new insights. You're committed to at least one new action step, and you're on your way to achieving new results. So if that sounds good to you, like drop a yes into the chat. If that feels like, yeah, Elena, I'm in the right place. This feels like, I want some of this. So I'm getting yes. So I just want to say that this is not like, this is not a lecture of alternative careers. You can Google that, that's out there. I do have some a handout and resources for you. Kathleen has already dropped it in the chat. Thank you, thank you. So glad you're here. Kathleen's dropped it in the chat already, but Kathleen, if you would drop that handout in the chat. And if you don't have it, if you haven't printed it out, do not give it a second thought, not a worry, just grab a piece of paper. That's all you need, and something to write with, okay? And maybe you're here because you would love to create a career you would actually really love to wake up to each day. And you want to be present with the people who matter most. One of the things I hear so often is like, I'm with my family, but I'm half listening. I'm composing an email in my head. I kind of can't wait to get back to the computer so I can get this off my mind. Maybe you really want to feel like yourself again. So this is my life. Yes, thank you, Regina. So someone please type into the chat what else you would like. What else would you love to get from this presentation? I'll do my best to work it in if I can. And Kathleen has let me know that if there are any additional resources I can send your way after, I'm happy to. So what else would you love? How to manage time. Great, Linda, thank you. Yeah, good. Okay, let's dive in. So who am I? How did I get here? How am I presenting? So my name is Elena Deutsch. I founded WIL, Women Interested in Leaving, and the word big is in parentheses and lowercase b, because, someone invented the word big law with a capital B, so I'm just using it lowercase. And I help women lawyers create clarity, relief, and fulfillment in their careers and lives. And yes, I work with men and non-binary people too. Okay, thank you for the people who are putting in notes about what else they'd love. And I'll take guidance on being taken seriously, something in addition to a lawyer. Beautiful. So how did I get here? I am not a lawyer. Most people ask me, so is that your story too? And I say, no, actually it's not. My dad was a lawyer. He was a criminal defense attorney here in New York City. And I always thought I would be a lawyer like him. I loved going into the office with him. I would go down to court with him. I'd cram his yellow legal pad notes into his very, very stuffed filing cabinets on school breaks and things. And I always wanted to be a lawyer like him. Until one day, my dad, he really lost his way. Let me go back here. He did not come home one night when I was 14 because he had been arrested for trying to embezzle money from a client. And he came home the next day, and he was taking a shower and was laying on his bed. And I was like, Dad, you want to come downstairs for dinner? And he said, no. And shortly after that, I learned what had happened. And he was really never the same again. Fortunately, he did not go to prison. He was disbarred, and he lost his identity in a way that I don't wish upon anyone, right? And I know how important that lawyer identity is, I think because of that. And after, when I was about to graduate from college, he got sick and had a brain tumor. I know this is sounding like a real sub story. I don't mean that. I just mean to give you this context of like why I have this special passion for working with lawyers to do something that's meaningful, fulfilling, sustaining, and life-giving for you and your families. So he was really never the same again. And I had to go on my own career journey then and find my way through nonprofits, through public health, and finally into coaching, which is where I felt at home really for the first time in my professional career. And that was when I was in my 30s. And I had a business before Will with a business partner, and we were coaching in some of the world's biggest firms. And I was coaching women who frequently looked like this, who were spending their nights like this. And if that feels familiar, drop a yes into the chat. Thank you. And yes, happy to share my story. We all have our stories. So, and I was coaching these women to like get very clear on what they wanted to do next. And did they want to stay and make partner? And when I'd ask them that, they would lean in and whisper and say, Elena, can I really talk to you about this? And I'd say, yes, you can, because the firm needs a good fit too. And I worked with one woman at a global firm, and she discovered that she really wanted to go in-house to a startup that had the benefit of unlimited vacation days. And our work was like, just there was incredible synergies, and she was on fire and I was on fire. And when she said that, I got full body chills, which is like confirmation that someone is on the right track. Yes. And for me, it was like a real wake up call too. That was the summer that I turned 50. My mom had died 2 years earlier, and it was like this thing was calling me to my higher and most aligned purpose. And I had a choice. Like I said, I had a business partner, and he wanted to take the business further in a different direction, doing more healthcare stuff. And even though that was my background, I didn't want to do it. And I had a choice. Did I do work I didn't really want to do, or did I go towards my desires? And obviously, I'm here now. So I decided I was worth going for my dream and to work towards having a greater impact and to put one foot in front of the other. And in 2017, Will was born. And I have been honored and delighted and just so moved and connected with women all over the country, all over the world who are changing their lives. And I just want you to meet Erin, because she's incredible. she's got a way with words too. These are words. This is actually like from when she booked her initial consultation call with me. These are some of the words she said. And she said, I feel like Sisyphus if he had to bill every 6 minutes, rolling that ball up the hill with someone trying to fight him. And she was tired of the conflict, the billables, and feeling like what she was doing didn't matter. And she really wanted to figure out what she wanted to be when she grew up. And she wanted to make the right next step. She'd bounced around a bunch in law firms, and she didn't want to keep doing that. So within 6 months of our working together, she was very clear. She decided to apply to a PhD program in nutrition. And this was like a goodbye message she sent me. Like, I'm out. I turned in my computer. I'm going to Belize for a month. And when she tells other lawyers that she had figured it out, she said she sees that far away look. And that's my gift. And it's my gift to help women like Erin, like you perhaps, and we'll get started today and give you some amazing steps to take to get really super clear on what it is you want to do. Okay, good. So first, let's talk a little bit about energy. Okay, you ready? I'm going to dive in. Give me a yes if you're ready for me to dive in. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. So one of the biggest barriers that I see women facing when they're trying to make a career change and make a pivot and figure out what else they could do is they're exhausted and it's hard to find the time. And also, like, along with that is they don't know where to begin, right? And if this rings true, Drop me a yes. Do you feel like exhausted? I'm not sure where to begin. There's so many. True. Okay, good. And again, this is what I see, that so many women lawyers are depleted, or waking up with anxiety, or feeling like what they're doing, they're like sleepwalking, they're going through the motions. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, like, they don't feel the passion for it anymore, if they ever did, right? And of course, I just want to, like, disclaimer here, if you are feeling tremendous anxiety, if you're feeling depressed, of course, seek professional mental health services. If you haven't already, yes, anxiety every day. And I'm going to give you guys a tool today to help you with your anxiety immediately. We're going to do that together, actually. So this book, Burnout, if you're familiar with it, drop a Y into the chat. If you're not, no. The book Burnout, Unlocking the Secrets to Unlocking the Stress Cycle by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. They are twin sisters, has some amazing tools to help understand burnout and address it so that you can, yeah, it's on audio. You can get it on Audible. It's great. And they both read it. It's a good Audible. So what is burnout? I think it's a term we hear a lot, and I just want to quickly define it. So, and this is something that women carry so much, this emotional exhaustion, that fatigue from carrying too much for too long. And women especially are the ones generally carrying it at home and carrying it at work and taking care. I saw someone say, is it, I'm taking care of my elderly parents now too, right? So exhaustion. And this depersonalization, sometimes feeling depleted of empathy, of caring, of compassion, and this futility that, like, nothing you're doing is making a difference, right? Does any of this feel familiar? Let me just pause here for a sec. Does any of those feelings of burnout feel familiar? I'm getting yeses. Yep, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So it's really important to address this, right? Because is it easier or harder to plan your pivot if you're experiencing burnout? If you're burned out, can you really right? Taking too many days off work for doctor's appointments. Yes, depleted, right? It's harder to make a pivot if you're depleted. So let's talk a little bit about stress and stressors. So we get a handle on this. So we get this in a framework that you can really use. So it's useful for you, right? So we used to be wired not that long ago. Our ancestors were living outdoors, right? I mean, it really is not that long ago in the scope of human history. And our bodies are still wired for fear, right? For protection. And it used to be the lion, the tiger, the saber-toothed tiger, right? But now our stressors are things in our modern day environment, like deadlines, like time. So I'm curious, what are some triggers and stress for you? What are some triggers and stress for you? Office support, maybe not having, right? Feeling like I have too much on my plate. Yeah. Pushing a deadline causes me anxiety. Rude clients who swear at me. Yeah, that's gonna make you go into fight, flight, or freeze. Yep. Never enough time in the day, not enough help. Yeah. Impact of work on your mental health. Yes. I think in law, I don't know how often you guys talk about it, but I really think one of the things my dad experienced was a lot of secondary trauma. And that's absolutely present in the profession. Overwhelming feeling that my life is running me instead of me running my life. You feel you're too late to make a career change. Yeah. Clients acting badly, right? So these are some of the stressors, right, in your life. These things that cause you stress, these are your stressors, right? And then what is stress? So the thing happens, the client yells at you, the client curses at you, you've got a deadline, right? And so what happens in your body is you have a physiologic response to the perception of danger. Now, will that deadline kill you? Will the client yelling at you kill you? No, of course not. But your body doesn't know the difference, right? So it's a physiologic response. Your body goes into anxiety, which is the perceived danger. It's responding to the perceived danger. And there's this chemical stew that's released in our brains, in our bodies to help us survive. And it's from the lizard brain. Our brain isn't just one whole unified thing. It's actually layer upon layer have formed over time. And at the very base of our skull is the amygdala, which gets tripped, and we go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. Is that familiar? And under stress, our brain produces hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and you've got it pumping through your body so frequently, so much of the time. And what happens is your prefrontal cortex goes offline and your IQ drops by as much as 50% because your body is just thinking, run, get away, right? And so stress is that physiologic response. You've done nothing wrong. If you are in anxiety, you have done nothing wrong. It is your body responding to stressors in the environment. Right? Does this make sense? If this is making sense to you, if this is resonating and is feeling like, oh, good, there's nothing wrong with me, it's my body. Like you don't shame yourself. We shame ourselves when we have anxiety, but we don't shame ourselves if you eat, bad seafood and have, food poisoning. It's your body taking care of itself. Right? And so the body speaks body language. So I want to give you guys some tools, and we're going to do one of them right now together to complete the stress cycle. So we're going to do this with our bodies. So one, we're not going to obviously do this right now. We're not going to run, but you could shake, literally putting on like Taylor Swift, Shake It Off, or any song you love, and shake, shake, shake for 3 minutes. It's like taking a yoga class. It's amazing. Breathing deeply, and we're going to do this together in just a sec. Connecting with others, having a positive interaction with someone, getting a hug, a high five, laughing, like that, a warm, long hug. And you do these things until you feel that kind of thunk, that kind of like, huh. It's a feeling, like when you've been hungry and then you're sated, right? And so another one, and this is one of the tools I want to give you right now, and then we're going to do the breathing exercise, is to put your hands on your heart. I don't know if you guys can see me. Okay, I'm standing there. Put your hands on your heart, left hand and then right hand on top, and press. And this is actually pressing on your vagus nerve. And take a few deep breaths. And Mel Robbins, who is a former lawyer, she's a motivational speaker and writer. She's got a great podcast also, offers these words: right now, I am safe. In this moment, I am okay. I am safe. I am loved. All right, so keeping your hands there, I'm going to lead you in a little box breathing exercise. So I invite you, if you don't know box breathing, I'll just explain it. It's very simple. You're essentially making a box, drawing a box with your breath. So there's an inhale, a hold, an exhale, and a hold at the bottom of the exhale. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a 4 or 5 count. Let's do 4 count inhale, 4 count hold, and then do an 8 count exhale. So it's a little lopsided square, an 8 count exhale and a 4 count hold, right? And so we're going to take a nice long exhale. So just for right now, give a little exhale and then inhale to the count of 4, hold, and then exhale for 8. And hold for 4. Inhale, hold, exhale for 8, and hold. Notice if your shoulders are dropping. Inhale, hold, exhale, and hold. And do it one more time on your own. And hold. And if you noticed any changes just from taking that minute or so to breathe, What changes do you notice in your body? In your body. If you're ready, type those into the chat. Calm. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, feeling more relaxed. Great, Regina. I feel relaxed. Thanks, Bex. Yeah, beautiful. Your jaw released. Good. Good. Feels like water washing over and over. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. All right, great. So that's a tool, breathing like that kind of box breathing that you have at your disposal for as long as you're alive and have the ability to breathe, right? So that you feel better. So that, does anyone feel more focused or calm? Yeah, but alert. Yeah, someone just wrote that they feel more relaxed and alert. So, right. So now we've gotten some of that stress out of the way, and I want to help you figure out what else you could do. And before I do that, I just want to share a quick story about a WIL member named Lisa, who she used the strategy of taking a leave of absence to help with her burnout. So Lisa was really burned out when she came to our work together, felt like nothing mattered. She just could barely get out of bed. And when I started talking with her about a leave of absence as an option, she said, I don't think I've been at my firm long enough to qualify for one, because she had made a lateral move. And I said, well, how long have you been there? And she said, 5 years. And I said, you've definitely been there long enough. And so a leave of absence is a strategy that many of the women I work with employ to, under FMLA, to take some time for their mental health to recuperate. Because let's remember, we have just been through a global pandemic. Like, I think anxiety is at an all-time high, and I want to offer that to you. This is not, advice about doing that. I just want you to know if that is something that's of interest to you. Check your companies, check your firm's employee handbook, start asking around if that's something that you might do too. And if I can help you with that, I'm happy to. All right, now we're going to pivot. Okay. Someone's asking for the slides, and I'm happy to provide the slides as a follow-up. So Kathleen will help me get that out to you early next week. So thank you for that request. All right, good. So just relax, let this wash over you, just participate. And yes, of course, take some notes as you have, but you have that handout there too, as a place to make some notes. Okay, good. So now let's pivot to the ABCs of making your pivot. All right. Let's just give it a little shake it out. Shake it out. We've moved through the first part of this and you're doing great. Okay. So I just want to just like, I feel like sometimes when I meet people, they're like, oh, what's the alternative career that's out there for me? And yes, there's an alternative career that's out there. Yes, but it starts in you. It starts with you. And love Tony Robbins or not, the man has certainly impacted lots of lives. And I went to one of his workshops last year, and he talked a lot about this 2 millimeter rule. So the 2 millimeter rule is that small pivots, that making small shifts, 1 and 2 millimeters, can change the whole trajectory of your life, right? And that you are the source of your pivot. You are. It starts with you. So getting into the ABCs, the A stands for assess. So people come to me and they're like, I don't know what else I could do, right? So I'm gonna show you some of the things to assess, and I'm gonna take you through an exercise to help you get even more clarity right now. So much fun. So first, I want you to assess what you want. What do you really want? Not what do you think you can get, not what you think you have to settle for. Not just like, it's good enough and you should just be grateful, but what would you really love? I mean, this really is our one wild and precious life, right? Yeah, you want fair pay for good work. Yes. And so it's so pausing to really assess your skills, your interests, because they're clues. They provide clues for you to figure out your values. So often I speak with people, with women who are like, I don't want to make more money for banks or insurance companies. Maybe you do, that's fine. But for some people, if your work does not align with your values, it can be very draining, right? And what are the specifics of what you would love in how your work is set up? Do you want to be fully remote, part-time, be able to travel, not travel, right? What is it you would really love? And if I do nothing here today, I want to give you 100% permission to own it, to own what you want. And we're going to talk about beliefs and all of those thoughts of like, oh, well, I can't really get that. We're going to get there in just a moment. But part of the work that I take women through, that I guide them through, is to really discover this and to then compile your skills, your interests, your values, and the specifics. And I'm getting you started with that today. So today you are going to do, I'm going to lead you in an ideal average day meditation. So what this is I want you to imagine your, no one else's, your ideal average workday. Okay, this is like an average workday. It's not vacation. You're not in Paris unless, you know, you live and work in Paris, which is awesome, but it's your ideal average workday. And as I take you through it, I invite you to think and imagine yourself in the present tense, that you are walking through your day. All right. And again, this is your ideal. So if you don't want to wake up and grab the phone and start checking email, guess what? It's your ideal day. You don't have to do that in your imagination. All right, so we're going to play a little bit. Are you game? Drop me a Y if you're game for this. Drop me a little yes. Yes. Okay, good. I'm getting a bunch of yeses. Thank you. All right, so I invite you to close or lower your eyes. And again, you can put both hands on your heart, or you could put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And then just take a couple of nice, good deep breaths. And feel your feet on the floor, feel your feet connecting to the earth, rooting down, down, down. Welcome to New York. You got a little siren here for you. Just notice the sound, let it pass if you can hear it. Take another nice deep breath. And I invite you to start to sink into this very moment that you are creating in this very moment, your ideal average workday. So imagine you wake up. Do you wake up with an alarm? Do you wake up without one? Again, this is your ideal average workday. Do you stay in bed and journal or snuggle with someone or some fur baby? What would you love? How would you love to start your day very first thing when your eyes open? Now let's imagine you get out of bed, you put your feet on the floor, and you head into your morning routine. What is it you would love? What would be nourishing? What would be energizing? What would set your day on the trajectory that you would love for it to go? Do you do yoga? Meditate, get on your Peloton, go for a walk? What would you love to start your day with? Now imagine you are transitioning into your rest of your morning. Are you eating some breakfast? If so, what do you eat? Who are you with, if anyone? And what is the tenor? What's like the vibe in your household? Is it calm and playful? I almost said, is it stressed and anxious? But remember, this is your ideal day. So how would you like it to be? Then imagine you're getting dressed and ready for work. Do you have a commute? Are you driving in Los Angeles? Or do you have some remote work available to you? What would you love? Now imagine you're settling into your workday, and if you're going in somewhere, what's the environment like? What's the tenor in the workplace, whether it's online or in a physical space? How do people greet each other? What's the vibe and the tenor in emails, in correspondence, on group calls? Again, what's your ideal? And then what kind of tasks are you doing? Are you in meetings, generating ideas? Are you having time to do some deep research and writing? Are you out there meeting with clients, customers? Are you creating something? What would be ideal for you? Notice what you notice. Notice any details. Are you in a room with whiteboards and lots of bouncing ideas? Then imagine your workday is winding down and you are shutting down your computer. You're getting ready to leave your workspace, whether it's a physical outside the home office or your home office. How do you transition to your evening? And how do you spend your time at night? Are you with others? Are you restoring in a long hot bath? Are you riding a bike along the beach? What's your ideal? Cooking a healthy meal? And as you wind down your day, how else do you spend your time? Are you watching something on Netflix or other services with someone, by yourself? Are you reading? Again, you don't have to get back online if you don't want to. This is your ideal day. And as you wrap up the day and you get ready for bed, how do you feel at the end of this really wonderful ideal day? What are you appreciative for? Okay, beautiful. So start to come on out of that magical space I felt you were in. And I want you to just make note. Just take a couple of notes right now and write down any tasks that you were doing effortlessly, because that's an important clue. Write down what you noticed or anything you were curious about. Like any details that you were like, that was kind of strange. I'm curious about that. Make note of the quality of your interactions. Note the kind of environment you were in, or the vibe, the tenor, even if you're working remotely. How would you describe that? And then how you felt at the end of the day. Okay, so just giving you a little time to make a few notes. This is something you can come back to. Oops, went too far, too fast. Okay. If you want to take a screenshot of the slide, and again, I'll send Kathleen the slides so that you have these questions, but if you want to take a screenshot of this to help you come back to remember these prompts, go ahead and do that. I'm curious, as we sort of wrap up this section, as you're making some notes, just we should have this webinar every New Year. Thank you. So go ahead and make some notes, and we're gonna move on. So this is how you begin to assess your skills, your interests, your values, because those things that you were doing effortlessly, joyfully, and flow, those are the things you want to be doing. Right? So that's the thing, to start to follow that trail of breadcrumbs. Right? Again, there's some of these things are in the handout and the ideal average day. So we're going to move on, because it's very important that we move on to step B. So if you're ready to move on, drop me a yes into the chat if you're ready to move on. Yes. Okay, great. Beautiful. Because I want to help you break through some of those internal barriers, those mindset barriers. Because so often, this is what I hear from women lawyers, they come to me, they're stuck in a negative thought loop. And if that rings true for you, also, drop a yes if this feels familiar. If you're stuck in like negative thoughts that you have on repeat, and feel free to share some of yours in the chat, right? And these are ones that I hear often from people, like, and maybe even they were going on for you just now when you were in that ideal day meditation, right? This won't work. You can't, you're too old, you won't make enough money, you'll never. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is feeling familiar. I'm stuck. I can't get going. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Yes. Okay. Right. So how does that thought feel when you think that thought? I'm stuck. I'll never. I can't. How does that thought feel in your body? How does that feel when you're like, I'm stuck, I can't, I'll never? How does that feel in your body? Type that into the chat. Stress. Good. Right. I won't make enough money in an alternative career at this point in my career. It's too late. It creates physical stress. Someone wrote, it creates physical stress. Do you feel tightness? Often people say they feel pressure on their chest, things like that. Crippling. Yes. Tightness in belly. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Max. Yeah. Defeated. Right. Right. Someone wrote defeated. Yeah. So if you feel defeated, are you going to take new action? If you feel defeated, are you going to get different results? Like, no, of course not. Right. That's human nature. You're not going to. Right. So remember, your pivot starts with you and no one. We are the only ones. And yes, it's a battle. And yes, it's a practice. And yes, we have to meditate and work on it and get stronger. But your pivot starts with you. And you actually have the power to make 1 and 2 millimeter tiny shifts to your thoughts that end up changing your feelings, your actions, and your results. Okay, so this one is in your handout. I've given you this exercise, notice, name, and new, and I'm going to take you through it. This is a way to change the story in your head so that it frees you to take new action in real life. Okay, so notice first that negative voice, those negative thoughts. The first step is to just notice them. Be like, oh, there's that noise in my head saying, again, I'm too old. I'll never make enough money. You can't make a change to an alternative career. It's for someone else. It's not for you, right? Notice that voice. I've been studying Kabbalah, and in Kabbalah, I think this is useful. This is why I'm sharing it. They call it the opponent. And I shared this with some of my clients the other day, and someone who was a litigator, she's not practicing that anymore. She said, that's useful for me because it like conjured an opponent for her, right? And you tell that noise in your head, you say, hi, I see you. I am onto you. I see you. I got your number, right? And then you give it a name. And you describe it and you give it some characteristics or telltale signs. Okay, someone is trying to get in on another device. So Kathleen, I'm gonna hit deny. So sorry for the interruption, y'all. I just had a weird thing in my Zoom. Don't change, all right. Sorry, I got a weird thing.
You're good. It all looks good from our end.
It's good on your end? Okay, I think someone on my team may have been trying to sign into my Zoom account. So I think that's probably what it was. Okay, sorry for the interruption. All right, back to where I was. So naming that inner critic, describing it, giving it some characteristics, telltale signs. So one of the things I share is I had one of my grandmothers was very critical. Her name was Anne. So my grandma Anne, you know, has appeared in my inner critic head, especially if, you know, she thinks I should lose weight. She thinks my house isn't clean enough, things like that. Like I get to hear her voice and I'm like, hello, Grandma Anne, I see you. And then the trick here is once we've noticed it, once we've named it, then we have to tell ourselves something new. We get to tell ourselves something new, right? And you tell yourself a new thought. Thank you, I've got this. So I say, Grandma Anne, thank you. I see the dust bunnies, I've got it. Thanks a lot, right? So new thought, I'm smart, I'm hardworking, I'm competent, I can figure this out, right? But I want you to come up with a new thought. So I'm just gonna pause here for a sec. So once you catch that inner critic, notice it. What's a new thought you can tell yourself? And I offer this one to you because this one comes from one of the lawyers I worked with. And she said, I'm smart, I'm competent, I'm hardworking. At the very least, I am those 3 things. I can figure this out. So let's see if anyone is feeling brave. I have succeeded before. Thank you, Jeffrey. And I will succeed again. Yes. I mean, I tell my clients, I'm like, you are lawyers. You have gotten into law school. You have passed a bar exam. You have practiced for however long you have practiced. You are like in a 0.01%, I don't know, of like skillful, educated people on the planet. You can figure something out. I know how to problem solve. I can figure this out. Thank you. Beautiful. All right, let me get one or two more as we're going. But at the very least, I want you to take this one. But you know, take a moment, jot something else. What's something you want to tell yourself that makes you feel like a badass, makes you feel stronger, more empowered, more like, I got this. All right, good. A challenge is not a ceiling, but a window of opportunity to advance and grow. You know, it's actually one of the things in the book Burnout. They say, if things are too easy, we actually don't succeed as well as if there's a little bit of challenge, a little bit of grit. So I love that one. Thank you, Max. Awesome. So I'll keep an eye on the chat as things are coming in, but I invite you to start to tell yourself a new thought, because how does it feel to think one of these new thoughts? How does it feel? Does it feel better in your body to think, wait a minute, I'm smart and hardworking. I can figure this out. If I apply everything I've applied myself to in my life so far, pretty much has worked out. I can do this too. So give me, how does this feel? I'd love to see in the chat. Then I'm going to keep us moving so that we can get through this on time. But I would love to see more of your, how does it feel to think a new thought that makes you feel better, right? And doing this kind of mindset work is a practice, Cultivating new thoughts, yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes some attention and energy, right? But for most people, it makes them feel better. And when you feel better, are you more likely to take new action? Is it useful to feel better? Yes. And if you're feeling better and you're taking new action, might you achieve new results? Yes. Yeah, I feel empowered to move forward rather than running in place. I love it. These are so good. So good. And it might be challenging at first. Your brains are wired. Our brains are wired for negativity, and lawyer brains are trained for skepticism, for risk spotting, for problem solving, right? So this is a different way of thinking, of seeing the world, and it's a practice, and you can do it. Okay. Yeah, it might feel futile because the profession doesn't change, and I hear you, and this is an invitation for you to change, your thinking, no matter what's happening in the profession. Because if you wait for them to change, I don't recommend it. I don't want to see you waiting for someone else to change. This is a place where you can reclaim just even a modicum of power. We have the power to change our own thoughts. One of my favorite affirmations is, I am in charge of my opinion of myself, right? Because that's where the power lies. I want to stop second guessing good ideas. I love that. Okay, so moving on. So we covered the A of the pivot, assess, B, breaking through those limiting thought barriers. And again, it's a practice, but you have got the essential tool, the notice, name, and new, to tell yourself a new story, to tell yourself something new. And the C stands for choose. And it really is this, like this comment, like the profession is not going to change. Yeah. I mean, the reports from the American Bar Association, the Commission on the Status of Women, article after article, you know, Leopard Solutions, all these consultancies writing reports about how the profession hasn't changed, especially for women, especially for Black and brown people, for queer people. You know, this is not, it's not changing. So you have a choice, right? And you do have options, even if it doesn't feel like it. You do have options. We always have the option of changing a thought at the very least, right? And you have a choice. You can accept things as they are and do nothing. You can stay. And this is what I ask people I work with or I have consultations with. You know, what will happen if you make no change? And they say, Elena, nothing good. Like, I'll continue to feel stuck. another 3 years will pass, or 5 years, or 15 years will pass. Is it going to be easier or harder to make a change further down the road? Right? And so I invite you to make a new choice. I invite you to take a new action, to buy the book, to take the course, to hire the coach, to do something new that invests in yourself, time and energy, and yes, money, because those are the components that help people make the transformations that they really want to make. Can you do it on your own? I hope so. And if you haven't been able to yet, you might need help, and that's okay. It's like I say to people, would you be your own plumber, right? Would you be your own dentist? Maybe you'd be your own interior designer, right? But like, would you be your own architect? Like, yes, career coaching is not the same thing as building a house or brain surgery or dental work. But if you would love to be guided and not have to try and figure it out by yourself, you can make that decision. And decision is action. Decision is action. And remember, you can make, it starts with your thoughts. You don't have to pay anyone else to think a new thought, right? And remember, your pivot starts with you, right? And to choose those tiny 2-millimeter changes. I'm going to share a quote from a client, what she said about small changes adding up. So that you can sleep through the night. If you do these things, assess your skills, your interests, your values, and start talking to people about what else it is you'd love. You sleep through the night. You wake up calm and eager for the day ahead. If you're present and patient with the people who matter most, that's a choice to do that. It's a choice to stop thinking about work. It's a choice to say no to that meeting or that conference call or that client demand. It is a choice. Might it have ramifications? Yeah. Can you say, can I call you later? These are choices. We all have small choices to make all day, every day, so that you can get to a place of taking unplugged vacations without laptops or worry, and really creating a new career and more joyful life. And that choice starts with you. This is the quote I wanted to share. I had posted about this workshop on a Facebook group I'm in, and one of an alumni, Will alumni, saw it, and she wrote this. And I want to highlight, thank you for all the inspiration. Like she said, the power of baby steps. I don't know if you can see it. It's third line from the bottom. But she lives in Orange County. And she thought it was in person. I said, it's not in person, it's virtual. So she sent some people here. And if you're a friend of hers, I'm very happy you're here. And she has left the practice. She was at Big Law. She did this stair step down. She went part-time. Then she reduced her hours even more. And then she was doing it just 5 hours a week. And that was even too much. And she started, while doing 5 hours a week, she started working on her coaching certification. And she is now like about to graduate from her coach training program. She's coaching people. She's an amazing coach. I'm like hopeful that one day she'll come work with me and Will. And she's so much lighter now. And she took the power of baby steps. It's not leaping off a cliff. It's not all or nothing. It's one step at a time. All right, so I'm going to recap and we're going to pivot, and then I will stick around for questions if you have them. So to recap, you can make a pivot to your alternative career, address your burnout, complete the stress cycle with your body, consider taking a leave of absence, right? Remember, take those deep breaths. Remember that you are the source of your pivot. You are the source of finding an alternative career that is a right fit for your ideal day. Because if you can dream it, it's out there. It exists. If it didn't exist, you might not be able to dream it unless you're like an incredible visionary. Like we have people, Steve Jobs. Say what you will about Elon Musk, he is a visionary, I believe. But my point is, if you can envision that kind of ideal day, it exists. And you are the source of creating it. So access and go deeper with that ideal day and your skills, your interests, your values. In the worksheet, there are a bunch more questions for you to journal on. And those are questions that I take WIL members through. They're soul searching. They're digging deep. You're excavating what's most important to you. So I really invite you to take some time this weekend to spend with that. Break through those barriers. Notice, name, and new. Use that as a new mantra. What's that negative story I'm telling myself? Oh, who is that? Okay, so even just label things: negative voice, inner critic, opponent. Say, hi, I got it. And I'm telling myself something new. You don't have to engage with it. Just say hi, swipe it left, right? And then choose something new. Choose a new thought that makes you feel better, that inspires you to take new action. Whew, good. So we are just coming around the bend here. We're right on time. And I just want to invite you. I'm here to explore how I can help you further. If you're interested in exploring that, if you're a yes to that, I invite you to have a consultation with me like I did with the other women whose stories I shared. That's how it begins. It's how your WIL journey could be a next step for you. And it really is like about enjoying the journey too. It's about discovering and exploring and playing in a new landscape that might not be so certain at first, but you create a new level of certainty for your life. It's a beautiful thing. So if you're interested, you can book a call with me here, women interested in leaving law.com/call. And I invite you to book a call if that sounds good to you, if that's a next step you would like to take. You can also just go to my website. There's lots of blog posts and articles and freebies, so you can get started with another juicy next step, right? Because I believe you are here for a reason. I believe you're here for a reason. I do. And I believe I am here to help you discover yours. I believe that I am here. One of my gifts is helping women lawyers, especially. And yes, some men, non-binary people, welcome also. I'm here to help you explore and discover and release your gifts onto the world so that you're happier, the people in your life are happier, and it just has an amazing ripple effect. So as we wrap up, I want you to write into the chat. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for all your participation. This has been so much fun. And I want to invite you to write into the chat what's one insight you got from today's workshop. Beautiful, Stephanie. Thank you. Making new choices. Yeah. Give it the power to, even internally. Oh, reframing. Great. To remember that small changes can make a big difference over time. Thank you. I'm free from the stress by retiring. Great. Great. Good. And for people who aren't able to retire yet, how can you be freer from stress? We're always going to have some stress, right? But can you close those stress cycles? Can you take the deep breath? Can you shake it out? Right? And this is how I close all WIL calls, or with these two questions. So what's one insight you got from today? All right, but I want to get back in on different terms. That's cool, Chris. That's great. Yeah, do it differently. And then what's one action from today that you feel inspired to take? What's one inspired action? Erase negative thoughts. Yes. Yes. Beautiful, Linda. Thank you. Stop taking calls when with family. Yeah, that is beautiful. I love it. It's a decision. That is a decision, right? Writing that business plan for the next step. Yes. I love it. I have a special passion for working with what I call willpreneurs, women who are interested in leaving law and being entrepreneurs, or being entrepreneurs in their own firms. Yeah. So we are right at the hour, and you're never locked into a negative situation. Yeah, thank you, Max. I think that's very true. I mean, we can be in hard situations, and I do believe everything is figure outable. Thank you, Renee, for your presence. Thank you. I'm going to stick around for a couple of extra minutes and answer any questions. And just, I know the Q&A is probably open, but I would prefer to just stay in the chat. So if you have questions for me, just pop them into the chat if you would be so kind. And I'm here. Okay. I want to be a marriage coach rather than a divorce lawyer. Oh, that is so powerful. Oh, Regina, I love that. I want to flip the narrative of my life from negativity to actually helping people stay together. Yeah, Regina, there's some great marriage coaches out there. You're probably, familiar with them. If you're not, I'm happy to, point you to a few. That is great. That is a powerful intention you are setting. That's really, really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Any questions? Let me just go to my last slide. Okay. Oh yeah. Also, I love to be connected on LinkedIn. You can use this QR code. I've done it before. It works. It's magic. I think it's a miracle. So if you want to connect on LinkedIn, take a picture of our, do the thing, the QR code, and we can stay connected that way as well. Good. Any other questions or comments, insights, or actions? I am here. Oh, you're most welcome. I'm so glad. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. My pleasure. Really, it was super fun. You guys did great. I felt you in those meditations, really going deep, which is good. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Oh, you want the QR code again? Okay, good. Yes. Thank you for requesting that. Ooh, ooh, there we go. Okay. What's your advice as to where to look for alternatives? Someone asked. I believe my advice is for you to start to look within you at what you really want, who you are, what you have to offer, what you would love, what skills and talents and strengths you bring. And if you don't know and you want more guidance about how to figure that out and walk that step-by-step path, that's the work I do with people. And I invite you to book a call, have a consultation, and so I can tell you more about how we do that. If people are still here and they want to hear a little bit more about that, I've got one slide that gives you an overview. If you want to hear that, I'm happy to do that. And we are past time, so I also want to honor your time. All right. Well, let us, I think we're good. Kathleen, are there still people in the room? I'm not, let me stop my screen share. But let me first say thank you so much to the BH Bar Association, to the Women's Empowerment Committee. Thank you so much for having me. This was great fun. And I would be delighted to come back another time. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elena. And if you're good, we'll go ahead and end today.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.